everybody. Welcome back to another episode of First and Last. My name is Josh, and with me is Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
What's up, my dogs?
They're called Pasta Pals. They're not your dogs.
Pasta Patrol.
Spaghetti dogs.
When they get when Jimmy's
Paw
under
Patrol?
siege and people demand that they need him back, they call on the Pasta Patrol.
Oh man,
I'm into it.
avenge me, pasta pals.
I want a weird carbo-loaded themed video game about you now.
This one, like a T-shirt that says pasta pals.
I want spaghetti. I haven't had spaghetti in a long time. That's a good meal.
I could eat some carbs.
Well, hey, today we're doing something. We're on top of the ball, and we are talking about Game of Thrones.
The Game of Thrones.
Right on top of the
man.
ball of thrones.
There's a game, and it's about a throne, and someone's gonna win it.
It's a throne game.
We're gonna play with those throne balls.
But who? So the long anticipated series on the a little box office that people might know as HBO, their home box office.
Mm-hmm.
That's what HBO stands for.
House of Thrones.
House Box of Thrones.
Game of Cards.
House of Bones.
Westeros of Thrones. Westworld of Thrones. Get it?
That's a good one.
But yeah. Hey, Joe, what is this show? For those of people that are just hyped and super jacked up on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you just
and
Google searched anything Game of Thrones, and you're like, listen to it.
And just said, how the fuck does this end? And that's what they Googled. I'm going to put that's in our tag. How the fuck did it end?
That's what we're doing.
And they Googled that, and they got
Welcome.
this podcast.
Yeah.
What is this podcast?
This podcast is a show called First and Last, and we take a TV show and watch only the first and only the last episode of it. Nothing in between, except sometimes when people have already seen the show, because it's a cultural phenomenon that you should just be a part of and watch.
Just give in. Just do it.
But some people just hadn't had the time and just hadn't watched the first or the last.
Hey, you know what's funny is I think every single one of us has watched this show, like the parts of it and whatever, in extremely different ways.
Okay. So, I mean, like mine's the simplest is that I've watched the pilot. Yeah. I've seen the first episode years ago. Didn't really retain much of it. I know that it's a medieval show that everybody's into. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't followed along, there's just no way to keep up. I feel like.
Yeah.
There's just so many characters, which is
and
part of its genius. But
that's my thing. So Jimmy, how have you seen all of Game of Thrones?
yes,
The Game of Thrones. What's the show called?
I watched.
Game of Cards.
I hadn't seen any of it. I think the first 4 seasons, 3 or 4, and then I got sick one winter, and literally with a fever watched the first 4 seasons and had some weird fever dreams after watching so many episodes of this show for days.
No, you just can't escape
Had
it.
some weird
These
and
weird
that's when
demons
I
now.
also saw Vanilla Sky for the first time, that really messed up Tom Cruise movie. All of it was just combined in some weird fever dreams.
I remember liking that movie. I feel like that was a good movie.
I would watch it. Is that it feels like is that a focus feature?
Sure. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Peter Dinklage.
Vanilla Sky, dude.
You know Vanilla Sky?
Fuck Game of Thrones. You guys came for Game of Thrones? We're talking about Vanilla Sky. No. Welcome to our secret Vanilla Sky podcast.
We gotcha.
First in vanilla. That's not it. Okay,
love
so you sickly binged the first 4 seasons, and I assume you've just been on top of it ever since.
Yeah.
And then
On top of the ball of thrones.
I watched the first season or 2. I think I might have seen I might have seen all of the first and second seasons.
Okay.
But I read the books, so I've read all of the books to date, which
What's the order? So you watched the first 2 seasons and then you started the books?
I think I don't know if I had read the first book before I watched. I think I read the first book at least before I watched the first season.
Gotcha. So it was kind of mixed.
But it was kind of a mixed thing. But then I just kept reading the books because I was like, oh, these are out, so I'll just read them.
Yeah.
Read those, and they kind of end around like when season 6 started, and I was like, oh, this is kind of where the end of where the books are and kind of where the show is kind of like surpassing the books.
Mm-hmm.
So I started watching the show again in season 6. So I've never seen season 3, 4, or 5 at all.
Oh, really?
No, I've never seen them.
Oh, okay.
weird.
And so I just started watching.
That's like
'Cause you've already
some
read
of the
it.
biggest
'Cause they're-
things that people talk about are in those episodes.
well, and I can talk about them because I read
The
them.
biggest episode, arguably, is in those seasons.
Talking about the
You've
Red
never
Wedding?
We
seen
talking
it.
about the Red Wedding.
Yeah, the Redding.
There's
if
like
you will.
3 things I know about this show, and it's like there's dragons, there's a guy named Jon
Check.
Snow, and there's a
Check.
Red Wedding.
Yeah.
Check.
But I read that and I knew it happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
it's like,
it's like crazy,
But you haven't
man.
seen it.
I haven't. No, I haven't seen it.
Just
well,
in your mind's eye.
in my I have a powerful mind's eye. Mind you,
Josh sees
Jim.
things. You should see the things that he
They
sees.
call me the three-eyed
Ugh.
raven.
Oh.
Ooh.
It's a Game of Thrones reference, Joe. You'll get there.
Is he in the house of Lannister?
No.
Cool.
No.
Oh, there's a couple more things I know about Game of Thrones, and they're because
you
I've
know
played.
that name.
I've
do
played.
you know who pays their debts?
No, but I know that there's houses, and I know does
You know that
does
because of the
Lannister pay his
Scotch.
debts?
Yeah, Lannisters.
Okay, well, I know that there's houses, and I know that one of them's Lannister because there was a Game of Thrones pinball game that I've played.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
yes.
The Lord of the Rings game is better, but Game of Thrones is fun too.
Interesting take. Okay.
Um,
I thought maybe you knew that because of the line of scotches that they made. That like Scotland, different distilleries in Scotland each picked a house, and they're
Okay.
based on where they also are in Scotland, which makes me think that the world of Game of Thrones is actually based on the geography of Scotland, because there's like the Isles, like the Ironborn. What are they? What's their last name?
Greyjoys.
The Greyjoys, the like distillery in Scotland that made the Greyjoy house are like in the islands,
Yeah.
and then there's like Starks, which is in like the north because they're like the winter is coming people
Oh,
in the north.
Iron Man's in this shit. It's a whole Marvel crossover.
Yeah,
Yeah, Game of Thrones is in the MCU.
You got the
yeah.
Starks,
Robert Downey Jr. is all over.
You got
this
your
show.
Lannisters. You got your Greyjoy. You got your Hufflepuff.
Get your
You got your-
Thanoses.
Yeah, Captain
House,
America.
House Thanos.
Is that what the houses are? Is it some like Harry Potter bullshit where like
No.
do people go around and go like I'm a Greyjoy?
Well, I mean,
No,
yes,
you don't.
They
just,
do in the way
you don't
of like
get sorted into. It's a blood relative.
they do in the way of like how you would think any medieval like clan or house would like be.
Yeah,
Like,
I've been to medieval times. I know how that goes.
yeah, you've seen the jousts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of jousts, a lot of incest.
Oh, that wasn't in my show of medieval times.
You
That must have been the midnight show.
Were you, yeah.
This was my niece's birthday party.
Were you at a matinee because they don't do the full show?
You haven't been to the 21
Sunday
plus.
afternoons they skip the incest.
The 21 plus medieval times is much better than the one you went with your niece to.
Do you still get a full plate of chicken? That's what I'm looking for, and a Pepsi.
You get a
Cherry
Pepsi and a
Pepsi.
little rum.
Ooh.
So I've seen the first season and I think most of the second season, and then I stopped watching the show, read all of the books, and then restarted watching it in the 6th season.
So you hadn't read anything before the show started.
I think I had read
Oh,
like the
okay.
first book, potentially. I don't really know my timeline because I remember watching the first episode and going, "Oh, this is like half the first book," and I was really surprised how much of the first book it was.
Do you think it helps to read the books?
Yes,
So should I, after I watch this first episode, like read the first chapter?
you should read. But the problem is you can't read the last chapter of the book. The biggest reason I actually think was helpful for me when I read the books is that when I watched the show, I actually knew everybody's names and knew who they all were. And I'm very surprised that anybody that watches the show and doesn't know how to read and has any idea who half these people are for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like seasons
It's
into it,
impossible.
Yeah.
there's like some dude. It's like, who's that guy? And I'm like, oh, that's Jon Snow, you dummy.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how I felt when I was like watching
Yeah.
the like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, where it's just like there's just so much stuff going on that
Mhm.
like when people come back, I'm just like, wait, who's this guy? What's his power again?
He's an elf.
Yeah.
He's
He
got
has-
big ears.
He's elf, but he lives for a long time.
Got
But at least in
infinite
Lord of
arrows?
the Rings, like, you're not like all the way through and they're introducing a character for the first time as if you know who they are, and there's some cousin of some family who there's some prophecy about or whatever.
Yeah, they were like, these are all the people. Now we're going to go on a 3-book journey.
They introduce and kill characters at will throughout this whole show. There's no way you can keep up.
And for the most part, all of the characters in the show have all been in the books.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a mix with like a random thing of like Robb Stark was like hooking up with some chick in some lady.
And sired a lot of
Is
children.
she not in the books?
It's like they just
A
changed
different
it
person?
for no real reason. It's kind of
Huh.
seemingly, I guess, but I mean, so for the most part, I just liked it because it helped
Interesting.
me understand who everybody was,
Mm-hmm.
and that was very helpful. Because I mean, everybody that watched it and just watched it knew who everybody was. I was like, you guys writing notes down or something? How are you figuring this out? This is insane. Because even me, I'm like, who is that guy? A little bit, and I knew who these people were.
Yeah, people just have like a big chart on their wall with pictures and
Yeah.
yarn tying characters together.
It's just an NCIS of HBO shows.
Nice. I like it. But yeah, I don't know. So we've all seen the first episode, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, I pretty much
Yeah.
only remember that like a kid gets pushed out of a window at the end.
I recently blew through all of this with my wife. Did I say that? So I watched like the first 4 seasons or whatever when I was sick, like in a week, and then I lived with some dudes who were really into it and had like read the books and stuff, and like it was one of those like you can't talk during this, that kind of viewing every Sunday night. Sundays?
I feel like you should always be able to talk while viewing something, but as long as it's tasteful.
no,
I mean, if
there's
you're talking
no-
because you just like to hear yourself,
was
then
no
you
talking.
shut up.
It was like get out of the room, get out. If you're gonna talk, get out. You go somewhere else. But then recently I made my wife, like, we blew through this over like a winter breaks type situation. So I did watch the pilot not that long
Not
ago,
that long
but,
ago.
but we blew through it so fast that I've already forgotten everything I've learned.
Cool.
I mean, well,
Joe?
Yeah, I guess the only thing, other thing I wanted to mention is that I know that there's like the Game of Thrones is like a literal thing that exists in the show.
I mean, yeah, it's not like Price is Right, but
But like it's like a
Pretty
game
much.
like literal enough that someone's going to win and like sit on the throne at the end.
I've got a lot of
in the Game of Thrones.
we got a lot of fun theories about what's happening. And I'll probably mention this even next time a little bit, but I was talking to one of my friends about it, and they were like, they would just basically ask me like, how do you feel about how season 8 is going, the last season is going right now? And I'm just like, I don't really care. I just want to watch it to the end and just like absorb it.
Yeah.
Until I like even
Absolutely.
decide whether or not I think they're good. Because people are like, one episode's too dark and there's pacing issues in another one. And I'm just like,
There's a Starbucks
I was
cup.
like, yeah.
It is what it is.
Game of Thrones at this point to me is just Fast and the Furious. It's just big dumb fun,
yeah.
you know? I'm going to watch all of it and then we're going to figure out if it's good or not.
I mean, give it a little bit more credit than Fast and the Furious.
I love Fast and Furious.
Man.
So.
Did
It's
you
all
see
about
that
family.
Jay Beebs is like rumored to be the new like a prequel Paul Walker?
Oh boy.
So with that, like I was interested before, but
Now we're really interested.
now invested is
Now I want to be in. All right. Well, hey, let's get into the first episode. Let's take a look and we'll judge it on its pilot prowess.
Yeah. And then I'll read like the spark
Flawless.
notes on the first chapter or something.
Yeah. And then read Clifford's notes. Is he still around writing,
Sean Bean.
writing notes?
Do you know that in Lord of the Rings guy Sean Bean is
Yeah, he,
also in
He always
this
dies.
Game of Thrones?
He dies in everything.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah, that's not a spoiler. He just dies.
He just
Equilibrium.
He's
It's
a
in his contract.
he's a die boy. All right. Hey, we'll see you
He's
guys.
got a dead face, you know.
We'll see you guys after the pilot of Game of Thrones. Probably, if they did it right, it's called A Song of Ice and Fire, right?
It's probably called like Let's All Read the Rules Together.
There's no way it's called pilot just because they knew they were going to make this whole show. But either way, we'll see you after that, guys. And we're back from episode 1 of Game of Thrones.
Season 1, episode 1, entitled
Pilot.
Game of Throats. No, it's called Winter is Coming.
Yeah.
Of course.
No, it's not. They knew they were going to make more of these shows.
They said winter is coming like 3 times in that episode.
Is that like the first chapter of the first book? Josh, confirm.
Oh, just this episode?
Like
No.
like Winter is Coming? Is that what the first chapter's called?
Maybe. I don't know. They don't. I don't think he names chapters.
Come on.
I think the first name
It's
is
just one?
It's called one. It's
What?
called Pilot in the first chapter.
God, I hope so. I'm gonna look it up.
Knew it was gonna be a TV show.
I mean, I can look it up by walking into the other room and grabbing the book.
Yeah, well,
I'm not gonna do that. It's all the way on the other side of the apartment.
Yeah. I guess just like overall, like before we even get to the write up, like the thing I took most from this is that it's specifically not a pilot. Like there was no like test first episode, or it didn't seem like it from this. Like it seemed like this was structured for you to watch more than just this episode. Like they kind of just like set up a few things, introduce you to some characters, but then they're just like, yeah, just keep watching. It's HBO. Like we know what we're doing.
They're just like this. We're
we're
telling a
money at
story.
this.
We
deal with
spent a lot of money. You're gonna want to watch this.
It's funny because I mean, some of us, Joe not included, I think, have been watching the show like in the last season as it's going. So it'll be funny to, number one, see the dichotomy of my like predictions versus yours, since I'm like, I know who's dead
Yeah.
going into the last episode. But like the storytelling is a lot different. Like obviously in this first episode, nothing really happened. Like everything's really slow and they chat to each other. Everyone just like sits and talks, and the scenes are like long, and they don't do that at all.
Yeah,
anymore.
there's a lot of talking, and then there's just like, you're the son of this guy, the brother of this guy, and you're smart.
And he's like, yes. You talking about Tyrion?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you're describing?
You are the imp. And he's like, yeah,
I am.
obviously.
There's wizards on the moon.
Wait, what?
Peter
Did I
Dinklage.
missed the wizards?
Yeah, you missed the wizards part? That's Peter Dinklage was in a game called Destiny, and he voiced this thing, and that was one of his lines.
Oh.
Then everyone made fun of him because they said he did a
Holy
terrible
whoa.
job. But I think he is a great actor and did what he was told, and what came out was bad, but not because he did a bad job.
He does seem like he'd be fun in this show. Or he was like the one fun thing about this first episode, at least.
Who, Tyrion?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Everyone else is just like, fuck. It's winter is coming. I live in the north. It's fucking shit out here, my man.
Sucks.
And
It's
Tyrion's
just
just like,
Fargo.
hey, look at these northern girls. What? I'm going to get hammered.
Yeah, it's true. Apparently, all the chapters in all the books are named after the characters.
Okay.
It's like chapter 1 is Bran 1. And then like later in the book, there's like a Bran 2. Is this ringing a bell?
Oh, yeah, they're named after the
They're
names.
all named after the characters.
That makes sense.
Is Bran short for something?
Brannard.
Branson?
I think it's like Brand.
Missouri.
It might just be like Brandon Stark, I think.
Brandon?
Yep.
Brand.
You got a write-up for us, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
You've had enough time.
Okay. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Buckle up. Buckle in.
Braniel?
Settle in. I still like Branson. Okay. In the land of Winterfell, Lord Ned Stark begins to believe that something is amiss. A deserter from the Night Watch, the guardians of the giant ice wall at the northern boundary of their territory, says he's seen the White Walkers. Later, Ned and his sons find animals slain in the woods, including a she-wolf whose 6 puppies they keep, one for each of Ned's children. They also welcome the arrival of Ned's good friend, King Robert, who was once betrothed to Ned's sister. She was killed before they could marry, and he wed Cersei Lannister, who has given him a son, Joffrey. Along with them are Cersei's 2 brothers, the handsome Jaime and Tyrion, a dwarf with very large appetites. The king wants Ned to return with him to his capital, King's Landing, and becomes the king's hand. Ned accepts, but his son Bran accidentally sees something he should not have and suffers a serious fall as a result. Meanwhile, in the land across the narrow sea,
It's such a like a he saw something he shouldn't, and then he fell because of that.
he saw some shtipping.
That's not really.
We'll talk a lot more about all of this because it's not right. I mean, it is, but it's very facetious. Meanwhile, in the land across the narrow sea, how do you say his name? Viserys?
Oh, Viserys.
Viserys, yeah.
I think that's it.
Targaryen, the dude Targaryen, needs an army to attack King's Landing and retake the throne that he believes is rightfully his. He arranges for his pretty sister Daenerys to marry warlord Khal Drogo.
Aquaman.
Yeah.
And they have weird, sad, not okay sex.
I mean, it gets better.
The end.
Yeah. So essentially,
Thoughts?
you're introduced to a lot of characters,
Mm-hmm.
and even though the characters that they introduce, like there's like people like hanging out in the background that like they don't even talk about, and you're just like, I bet
Yeah.
that guy's important. But,
And they're for sure characters
but yeah,
that
you're
will
more,
become important.
It's more of just like what's the Bible book where they just like lay out who's related to everyone else?
Numbers.
Numbers. It's just like this person is the king and he has 2 sons. And
Yeah,
this
he
person...
begat this person.
Yeah.
If we're in the King James.
Because like you
boring.
meet like the Starks and like the Lannisters and whatever, but you don't really like, and maybe this is throughout the show too, but you don't really get much into like their headspace of like what they're trying to do and what their motivations are.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get that something
Okay.
weird is going on with the Lannisters, and like there's rumors about like maybe they're starting shit up, but you don't really know. And like, I feel like that's intentional. It's like being kept a secret or a mystery up until like that end where like, who is it? Jamie like pushes
Mhm.
Bran out the window
Yep.
Yeah.
because he's climbing.
Do you know who he was humping?
That was his sister,
Yeah.
whose
Okay.
name I forget,
Circe.
and she's the queen.
Yeah, she's married to Robert Baratheon.
Because something I didn't
Big
get
fat guy.
when I watched the episode, but not until I read something, was that the fat guy Baratheon,
Mm-hmm.
he's the king.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
like has been the king for a while. I at first thought that he was like the prince or something, and like the guy who had died in the beginning was the king and he became king.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy who died in the beginning was the king's hand.
Yeah.
John.
And that's why he's there to ask Ned Stark to be his hand.
Because they're brothers.
No, but
they're like
he was
super
in love
duper
with
best
Ned's
friends.
sister.
Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
And he was going to ask her to marry him.
And Ned's sister is dead.
Yeah, she died.
She was killed by someone.
Yeah.
Which it seemed like that's important, but we don't necessarily know who yet.
Yes.
I'm like, do I remember who killed her?
It does become important.
It like is important, but it like isn't.
But yeah, like that's what I mean. It's like so like we probably spend the most time with Ned Stark in this episode, but like all you really know about him is that he's I don't know if he's even if king's the right title, but like he's in charge of Winterfell, right? He's like put on this outpost.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just
The
like
Lord
the
of Winterfell.
Lord of Winterfell.
That's like his
Yeah.
castle. There's all these like
Yeah,
houses.
he's like a governor.
and they are all in charge of like a lot of people are in charge
Yeah.
of big like castles and
Yeah.
regions.
Robert Baratheon is Trump,
Right.
and
Yikes.
and Ned Stark is Nancy Pelosi.
Okay. and
okay, yeah, I'll take it.
and she's being offered the position of the former Mike Pence.
Yes. Yeah. Mike Pence was killed by somebody.
Well, he had a fever.
Not even like Mike Pence. It would be like who's like the chief of staff right now?
I don't think there is one right now.
Yeah, probably.
I think it's just chaos.
which is pretty accurate for Game of Thrones.
So
Loki is.
So the stuff going on
Chief
with
of
Ned is
staff.
that he's got like a steady outpost out here and he's being offered a promotion, but he's not sure if he wants to take it. But like we don't even know like what are his apprehensions about it? Is that just that he has to leave his wife? Does he?
Yeah, I
is there some
kinda-
sort of
Well,
danger.
we
or,
found out eventually. I mean, it's like really far away, from his whole family. But then we find out.
Oh yeah, because they traveled for a month to get there. Yeah, so it's a month's worth of riding to get between.
Yeah, so it's pretty freaking far.
Mm-hmm.
But so at the end of the episode, we find out. Well, towards the end, they get the like message at in the middle of the night. Do you remember this part? At the end?
They got a message from Ned's
from
wife's
sister
saying that like. Did she say that the Lannisters killed?
She was married to the Hand.
Okay.
And she said that the Lannisters murdered him.
Okay.
Not that he just died. And so like that would assume that now if he's gonna be the Hand, he's also gonna be in danger.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there is that, and that's why he's like kind of like wondering what's going on. But yeah, we don't get much. You're sort of just left to infer that. Like, and I bet they like explore these things in the next few episodes.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of just like in a lot of other pilots, it's like even for like really good shows, they essentially like put you through like a whole Breaking Bad adventure or a whole like Dexter adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what this is about, you know like the motives of the main character, and you know what you're in for. And in this, like you don't even really know who the main character is. Like
Yeah.
I don't think we know who the main character is yet.
Still,
and
right.
we're one episode away from being done with the show at this moment.
So many characters.
I think it does kind of a good job having seen a lot of the show, where, like a lot of the stuff is like, oh, does Ned want to go and do that? There's obviously a lot of like stuff that isn't being said. There's a lot of like mystery, and it's a lot of like political kind of like. Who did what, who's going to do what, how are the pieces going to be moved, like a lot of that kind of stuff. It's not world-ending stuff kind of thing. It's a lot of just like humans being humans, bickering, trying to like take their power, but like within their little kingdoms and stuff. And that's a lot of the show. You know, it's just like someone wants to be in charge of this castle, and someone wants to kill this person.
A lot of
and do this
moving
stuff.
of pawns.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like political intrigue.
Some taking of pieces.
Is very like, I mean, it's you don't know it yet technically, but it's definitely setting the tone of like, you're going to get a lot of this. Like people are going to like stand in dark rooms and they're going to talk about what to do about the other dude that might be trying to kill their entire family to take over their stuff.
Yeah. I don't think I would have got that from the first episode. I think I got like, I'm expecting like more shit like that happened in like the first 5 minutes where they're like off adventuring somewhere and gotta fight somewhere.
The first 5 minutes
didn't really talk about that.
The first 5 minutes is
it's the
Night's
Watch,
Night's
north
Watch,
of the wall,
Yep.
which is the giant ice wall that they made presumably hundreds or thousands of years ago to protect from the night,
literal impossible wall.
The White Walkers, which now like no one south of the wall believes in. It's all just a myth, a legend. So we see the like people from Night's Watch go up there, and then they like stumble upon the like wildlings, which is what they call the people who live north of the wall. They stumble upon their village, and the one dude who's like scouting comes across the like village just completely killed in some sort of like cult style ritual. Or
seemingly they're laid out in some sort of.
They
form.
looked like they were in a crop circle of body parts,
and there was like a child like nailed to a tree or something, right? Like because it was just like, oh, like they just fucking murdered everyone, even like the children.
Yeah. So then he like
slaughtered
runs back
them like
to
animals.
his dudes. Yeah.
The women, the children.
Yeah.
I hate sand.
They run back.
It's what? Just quoting Attack of the Clones.
Is that? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep.
When he kills the sand
brothers.
people. It's interesting. It's very cool that they.
It's been a while since.
like. Right away that they were like, hey, because it's like that's like the first thing you see is like, hey, there's something north that's very wrong, and then they're like, okay, now let's go meet the king.
Now they're alive.
You know? Let's forget about it.
No political intrigue.
Well, he runs down. They roll the opening credits, and then he runs down, and he's south of the wall. The one guy who survived that, dead people coming alive, and then Ned has to cut his head off, and he has to make all his sons watch it, even little Bran.
Little Branson.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that I think I learned the most from the credits because they showed the map of all the different kingdoms, and they're like, this place is way over here. There's this wall, You got to climb up this wall, and there's stuff
Yeah.
over there.
It's definitely my favorite part.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts is just the
It's
opening.
definitely what in each season it changes a little bit.
Oh, they add a
So
little more?
So you just understand like, oh, these places are important in this season.
They
of the
show. Yeah, the beginning of the episode shows
'Cause,
what.
Yeah,
Or is
there's
it for like a whole season? I suppose.
I don't
'Cause
think
they
they
pretty much
change
keep
it.
coming back.
Mm-hmm.
They don't change it per episode, but so then you know like, oh, these places are going to be important. So like as seasons go on, it
Mhm.
changes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool. I like how they do that.
Trying to think if there's anything else.
It's pretty crazy to think about it now because this is 10 years ago. 10 years ago? How long? When did
I
this?
think it was 2011 or something.
So it was 8 years ago. I didn't know if they like took a little bit of time off because HBO like, we're gonna take 2 years off to make another season kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh right.
But I mean, for a lot of these people, there was like Arya and like Bran and like they said like Joffrey's born in this one, right?
Wait,
No,
what?
Joffrey's a full-on
No,
kid.
Joffrey.
Who-
yeah,
oh,
Sansa has like a lady boner for him already.
Who's
Sansa
born?
Stark.
Yeah, no, who's born? Didn't you just say someone was born? Was it Tom? No, Tommen's alive.
No one was born in this
I wasn't
episode.
paying any attention.
No, I didn't
to
see
you.
any babies.
But
Daenerys got 3 petrified dragon eggs,
but they
which
picked
is a thing.
But they picked not only like a couple like child actors for sure, a lot of
Mhm.
child actors, and then
Yeah.
pretty much everybody besides like Sean Bean and
Yeah.
some other people. Like most of the like main people that you're going to talk to are just unknowns, and they were like, they're going to be with us for 8 years. Let's just go. Let's just do it. And
Yeah.
hopefully they don't suck.
Good point.
So
And the
kudos.
cast is great. I mean, Peter Dinklage, you've been in stuff.
Yeah, he's a known quantity, I guess.
He's a known quantity, but I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Cersei, I think I've been in stuff.
oh yeah, she's in the new Judge Dredd.
Not doing my job.
Just in case you were wondering, I forget what her name is now. I can't remember her name. Not important. Lena Headley.
Heady.
Headley.
There's no L.
Headley.
Ina Hetty.
Lena
There's no L in
Ledley.
the last name. She was a voice actor in Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, then she has my vote
Or is
for
currently.
president in 2020. She
Cersei
American?
for president.
There's no way.
No, probably not.
Brandley for president. So, I mean, the first time I watched this a couple years ago, like, I thought that Bran died when he fell out of the window.
You would think.
Yeah. I mean, like, I only know that he, like, probably didn't die just because, and he might be dead by now, who knows, but just that, like...
I know, by the way. I know if he's dead or not.
yeah. Just that, like, he has been mentioned since then, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that I don't know, maybe he got saved by dragons or something, who knows?
A lot of his legs got broken, and a lot of them didn't get better.
A lot of them.
Let's
Wow.
say
How many
two.
legs does he
Let's say
have?
two
100%
two legs.
of them?
Over under of 2.
How many legs do you think he
Okay,
has that
let's-
work now?
Let's just...
2.
I'm trying to think of who else. If there is anyone else we haven't mentioned. So there's the Hound we saw, who's the big dude with the scarred face, who arrived with the Lannisters and the King,
Oh,
who's
I don't
big
remember.
and scary. He was talking to Tyrion again at the end, and they were talking in innuendo about they were going on their hunt, and then Tyrion was talking about how his spear is
spear
the
never
best in the
misses, yeah.
land. And then he's like, the Hound is like, it's not hunting if you pay for it. That's the Hound. And then there's Theon Greyjoy, who is like one of the brothers. He was like with one of the with the brothers all the time, but he's not a
He's
brother.
probably with Rob, right?
He's with
Yeah,
Robb
I
a
wasn't
lot.
sure which one of those kids were Starks or not. There's 5 Stark kids
So there's like
plus
the
Jon.
bastard Jon Snow.
Yeah.
And him and Rob and Theon were like in there like shirtless, getting shaved.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And haircut and stuff. So John's like the bastard.
So is
son.
other 5 and then Jon? So 6 of them total?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
There's
There totally is, right?
Sansa, Arya, Bronn. Who's
Bronn.
Bronson.
Rickon
Rob?
Rickon.
and John. That's 5. That's it, right?
There's
There's 5 of them total.
What's the other one? You're making it up.
Well, so
Phantom
Theon, you were
No,
saying that's
they're
not.
too
He's not
little.
a Stark. He's a different guy.
Theon doesn't get a wolf.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a Greyjoy. So he was like captured or like raised
He's a
as
s-
one of their own, but
he's a
he's
s-
from a different house.
He's essentially an indentured servant to the.
I mean,
the
they
Starks.
they were like not like good to him. It's
Yeah,
not
he's
they-
like their.
I mean,
he's their
you're,
Loki.
you're nice to your fake slave, so they'll do your bidding.
They're like German Irish guy
It's not
who's
like he
the
was waiting on them. He was like treated like a lord.
like the German Irish lawyer in The Godfather. He's like
Oh,
he's
yeah.
not. He's like pretty much family, but not actually
Yeah.
related.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I know.
We
I,
haven't-
I know exactly what you're talking about.
We haven't talked about the Dothraki. We
What
need to talk about the Dothraki.
What do you want to know?
Oh,
what do you
man,
want?
yeah.
Not know about him. What do you want to talk about?
It was just like uncomfortably racist.
Keep going.
That just like you're
Oh.
presented with like these like very Northern European like Nordic looking people,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden you're just like whipped across the world, and here's like this like the whitest dude you've ever seen being like, oh, I'm gonna give you to the savages. You think they fuck their horses?
I mean, I don't think at any point are
That's so
you supposed
true.
to like see like that guy,
Just wait.
like
Mhm.
that Viserys or whatever. Is that how you say his name?
I don't know.
V Targaryen. I don't
The
think you're
awful
supposed
one.
to like ever have
The one
seen
who
him.
touched his sister's boobie.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
he
mean,
did.
but
That
you-
was before I knew they
we
were
didn't talk about
siblings.
that. But I don't think you're ever
If you
supposed to see
crazy
him and be like,
blondies.
"Oh, that's a dope dude."
Yeah.
I'm really rooting for him.
Oh man.
Oh
I think-
yeah,
I
yeah.
think-
Joe, I want to know who Joe thinks the good guys are after seeing after watching the pilot.
I don't know, but yeah, the Dothraki are just like, it's like the one like tribe of like brown people, and it's just like they're fucking savages. They like rape and pillage, and they don't have a word for thank you. They're very impolite.
Oh, just wait, man. Gets better and better.
Well, I mean, you're gonna
The racism. There's one like sort of kind of Grecian / Spanish / Middle Eastern like world. Josh, you know what I'm talking about? Where the guy from Deep Space, the doctor from Deep Space Nine, is like the king or whatever, the lord of.
Mhm.
I mean, over on the Dothraki continent, right?
And every one of the actors from over there, yeah, it's on the same like continent, but it's like
I'm gonna
north
call
and
it.
it's actually
I forget what
nice.
it's called, so I'm gonna call it Easteros.
Yeah, I like that. Esteros, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. But like all the actors from that area are just from different like ethnicities, like
Okay.
actually. Like what's her name? The Asian girl from Iron Fist, who's Colleen Wing, is in there, and then like actual like Italian people. It's just like all over the
They're just
place.
like clearly different.
Yeah. These are
Yeah.
just the different folks over
It's
up
just-
here
Well, so
speaking
like
in some kind of
Westeros
accent.
is like the America, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just a bunch of white people fighting over power, and then the other continent is where all those non-civilized savages
Yeah.
are.
And where we borrow all our money from
It's
for Westeros.
yeah, it's crazy because it's just like it's. I feel like in this and like Lord of the Rings, it's like, oh, we're gonna have this world with all these different races and cultures, except they're all white. And in this, at least there's brown people, but it's like, oh, but they're fucking savages though.
But they're really good warriors.
Yeah, they're really strong and good for
Great
like
at
manual
killing.
labor.
Yeah, they lift things heavy and good.
Yikes.
I'm gonna take them across the continent to go like take over. Like, it just made me real sweaty.
Hey, do you want to come with me and fight my war for me? I'm gonna make you do that. Also, do you want to bang my sister forever? Let me touch her boob quick. I need to touch her every once in a while.
Yeah.
But
So
you,
I wonder if it does get
Just a
better
quick
for
grab.
brown people in general. Because I haven't heard any like racist blowback about Game of Thrones, so I figure it maybe gets better. I've heard things about it being misogynistic, so maybe that gets worse.
I mean,
But maybe brown
it's
people
kind
get it
of
okay.
It's kind of one of those things where it's kind of like, you know, it's like, oh, something like, oh, it gets misogynistic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, it is. Like, think of us as a humanity when medieval times happened. You know,
Yeah.
it's not like it was like not misogynistic back then.
Sure.
They were like men did everything and women were not allowed to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So besides potentially having, I mean, they have women in power and they have women going after power in this, but they're definitely climbing uphill in this show.
Yeah,
But
they
it's-
show strong women, but they're not in positions of power usually.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Which I don't necessarily need that.
Right.
And I'm not saying every show needs to like have like female empowerment in it, but like it grates a little bit when it's just like, hey, here's a character. Oh, she's got raped. It's like, oh, come on, man. And like, you know, like maybe it turns around. I'm assuming it turns around for Daenerys because I know she's a big deal, and I know that she's like controls dragons and shit.
She is the mother of dragons.
Yeah, but it seems like a lot of times these things are thrown in just to, especially it gets. We talked about this during whatchamacallit? Psycho show.
Oh, yep.
Bates Motel.
Yep.
We talked about it during Bates Motel, where it's just like a lot of times like rape in shows is just like it's really for in service of like making a male character like feel bad or like have feelings or something, and it's just like, oh, but this woman got raped.
It seems like they throw literally everything in the kitchen sink like, at Daenerys to be like, you know, you're a woman, and then we have to like drag you down and you have to like overcome it. But like they throw so much like at her, like
Yeah.
to the point of like, come on.
Like she starts at incest, please.
Yeah.
That's
That's where she
That's where
started.
you
The
start.
first thing that happens to her, she like takes off all her clothes and gets her boob touched.
Yeah,
by her
and
brother.
then walks into the burning hot like bath water that's not ready yet. And the lady's like, it's too hot, and she's just like staring forward, like,
oh,
burn this off of me.
yeah. Yeah,
Burn the filth
incest off of my
It
my
is,
flesh.
Joe. It is a like a theory / a known quantity that Targaryens cannot be burned by fire or something. Is that what it is?
and that they're incestuous.
Well, yeah.
It seems like everyone's
I
incestuous.
feel like that's probably a thing in like from like medieval times too. Is that like royal blood, like keeping the blood pure?
yeah,
quote
'cause
unquote.
You gotta keep the power in the family.
Here's
Yeah.
a really weird way to talk about having children with your
I
sisters.
said quote unquote. Roll the tape back.
I'm not saying
Should
that
we-
that's not
should
what they
we move
do.
on? Should we do predictions?
I'm kind of into predictions because I think it might take a little bit because we're gonna probably talk about some stuff a
Yeah.
little bit. Do you want to go first, Joe?
Yeah,
Since you know the least about the show in general.
yeah.
So and if your prediction is immediately wrong, would you like us to tell you?
We're gonna laugh. No,
Sure.
I'm just kidding.
I don't think
Wait.
maybe one of these will be completely.
Because I mean, if you say
at least
like
for the finale.
blah 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 is like
Like if
king,
a person's alive or dead.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't want you to go in getting zero.
I think I did okay, but we'll see.
Okay.
My first one is Arya.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Alive.
Go on.
All right.
Go on.
In this first episode, they make a big deal about her marksmanship. Like she shoots the arrow
Oh
and is
yeah.
able to get the thing right, and then she also like fucks up Sansa's dress with like a spoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that in this finale she uses her marksmanship in like a critical moment. It's not something where she just like shoots a basketball. It's something where she like fucking like kills a large beast like with an arrow shot.
My
from far
prediction:
away.
Arya hits a
Alright.
3-pointer.
Yeah, like she just swishing.
Or is inventing basketball.
Arya invents basketball.
All right. Nice.
Okay, and then the second one maybe I have Tyrion.
Okay.
Has a big like dramatic death scene.
Like he dies in a
Mhm.
dramatic way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Quite
it's
possible.
good. I hate that, but it's good.
That one I wasn't sure about if he's alive or not.
He is currently alive.
Cool. And then I have Jon Snow.
Still alive.
All right.
Surprisingly, a lot of characters still alive. Okay.
You're crushing.
Yeah.
You're crushing. I mean, I guess out of the ones that he met,
Yeah.
a lot of them
Yeah, it
presumably
makes
are
sense
alive.
that they're. Yeah.
I'm, out of these three that I
Okay.
said, like, I'm pretty sure everyone else is just fucking dead. Like, I don't guarantee life for anyone. I said that Jon Snow kills someone with a sword. You see him doing a little like sword fighting during the party scene. So I
Okay.
bet he's prepared to fight with a sword.
Okay.
Cool.
Wait, he kills someone with a sword? Or
kills
what did
with
you
a
say?
sword.
Yeah, okay.
And then
I hope he kills someone with a little bitty dagger.
we have to argue about whether it's a sword or not.
With size. He's got
Um,
nunchucks.
And then, so yeah, this first episode ends with Bran getting pushed out the window, and it's like a big like cliffhanger moment.
Do you think Bran's gonna jump into the window?
He flies, levitates into a window.
Bookend.
Branathan is back.
and he's got 18 spider legs, and he's like,
bitch.
Try to break all my legs.
they all work, Jamie.
No, I think that there is another like cliffhanger, maybe not cliffhanger, but like / like twist moment, like right at the end, like in the last shot, so that people are just like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, I don't think it's the type of thing where the show ends and
Doesn't
people
like
go,
resolve
yeah, I don't think people
necessarily.
go, oh, great, Game of Thrones is done. I think that they're going for like it ends and people are just like, what the fuck was that?
Okay. Okay, so my important question then is,
Oof, I
because you
could
didn't
see that.
answer this,
Mm-hmm.
who wins the Game of Thrones?
See, in this first episode, there isn't even a Game of Thrones.
So
It's
I mean,
just like-
so the whole
That's
essential
true.
point in a lot of talk throughout the years is just who's gonna take, like, that's the whole, like, what
Who
everyone
will
just
be
thinks
on
is gonna
the
happen.
throne?
yeah,
Who takes the Iron Throne?
because
at
right
the
now
end?
in this first episode, like Branathan or what?
Baratheon.
Baratheon?
Robert
he's on the throne, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Uh,
something happens to him.
He's been dead for seasons on seasons.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's how the game starts.
Yeah.
Right away.
I'm
That
gonna say,
and that is how the game starts. Yes,
let's say,
and I'll tell you if they're dead.
because I feel like it's almost like gonna be not one of the Starks, but I only know Starks. There's like Tyrion, like I'm sure both the other Lannisters are dead. Maybe Dragon Lady's dead. I think. Well, I mean, I guess of the people I know, let's say Sansa.
Possible.
Love it.
She is alive.
Let's
at
go
least.
for it.
Okay.
So that is a thing. You said like you think the other two are dead, like Cersei and Jaime.
Yeah.
I think the assumption after the last episode, the assumption is that they're dead, but they died off camera essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have guessed they died years ago.
No, they
I'm surprised
died.
They made it to this far.
They died last
Oh, they
week.
made it.
So it's possible. I it's not in my predictions, but I wouldn't be surprised if we like see a Jaime or a Cersei still in this next episode.
Interesting. Is that a prediction?
No, I wouldn't be surprised.
I like Joe. I like your cliffhanger thing because, for one thing, have you guys been seeing this? Like, there's like thousands of people signing petitions for them to remake this season
God.
because people are pissed.
I love petitions.
Because basically this is like the season where they've for sure not had like any source material from the books.
Oh yeah.
So like people are like up in arms, but it's like they gotta be. It's like the last season. They gotta be like killing people off and trying to resolve some stuff.
We need to do like a
Like,
PSA
what did you want?
to anybody listening that is mad about how this is going,
Yeah.
and that's you need to chill the fuck out and deal with
Yeah.
it. Like
Just do it.
they're writing a story and it's gonna, it's different. And if a book ever comes back out and it actually ends in the book,
Yeah.
that story's gonna be a little different. And in
Right.
either one, no matter what, the characters that you like want to do what you want them to do, like you can't get mad when they just don't do what you want to do. People are
Right.
mad like halfway through the season because it's like not going their way. Like,
Right.
you just don't know what's gonna happen. Just let the story
it's dumb.
finish.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to judge something.
And
like
it
that.
is hard. I mean, like you watched people do things for
Yep.
8 years and you like want them to do things. But if you actually think back, if you've been watching the show and you think back about like how they've grown as characters or whatever and what they've done in this season, I think most of it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like, and it
Yeah.
showed. But
It's
like,
great.
you might be mad because the ceiling fell on Cersei's head instead of like
Hmm.
Arya didn't get a killer kind of thing. Like,
That's why the best way to watch TV is just to watch the first and the last episode.
Right.
exactly.
Then you can make
Obviously.
your judgment. Then see if you want to
And
go back.
move on.
But
I do kind of like the like them coming back and making another season 8 and then like is this 9?
this is 8.
This is 8.
I don't know.
And just making another season 8 and another just like the end of the movie Clue where they have all the
Just keep
different
reviewing it.
endings.
Should they pull a
be
Roseanne
amazing.
and make a season 9 like season 8 didn't happen?
Right.
And just be like, it was all a dream.
Yeah.
It was a St. Elsewhere's crystal ball.
Ooh.
Ooh.
All right. Josh, what do you got?
All right. So number 1, I think Arya kills Daenerys while wearing Jon Snow's face.
Whoa. You
How
know
old is
nothing,
Arya by
Jon
this point?
Snow.
How old is she?
Yeah.
Old enough.
No, she's like 15, 16.
Okay.
No, she's
Is she-
older than that. Have you not watched like 2 episodes ago where people made a huge deal about how she had a sexy scene?
Yeah, because no girl's ever banged anybody when she's 16.
She was like 12 when the show started.
Yeah, and it's been 8 years.
So she's
Hasn't
like
been-
20
But it
years
hasn't
old.
been 8 years in Game of Thrones world.
I
don't know.
think
Do they even have years?
it could be more than that.
Could be more.
I don't
Maybe.
know.
Okay, maybe she's like 17.
She's like
to
37 years
19.
old.
But I feel like she's still younger. So I think that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's fun. I think the Seven Kingdoms are essentially disbanded and nobody takes the Iron Throne.
Hmm.
I think
Nobody's
I
in
think-
charge.
I think-
Redo season 8.
I think they're gonna. I want them. If they end this show, I want everyone watching to poop their pants in anger because no one wins.
I think they're going to anyway. I've been watching this season thinking like, oh, I'm having a great time. This is wild. This is Game of Thrones. And I just learned the other day that people are furious.
Yeah, people are so
How
mad.
are
I
you
was surprised by that
furious?
too. I thought that everyone loved this show. I was
Everyone,
surprised to see
everyone
backlash.
did up until this season, and
Wow.
then it's just because the characters
It's
they love
because
aren't
it's
ending.
not in the books.
It's not going the way that they want. You know.
Like people are like freaked out about the red wedding, but it was in the books. So they're like, "Oh, it's sweet."
Red Wedding
But if the same similar things happen in season 8 where it didn't have source material, they're like, "F you guys."
Mm-hmm. So they've been talking about like King in the North and all that kind of stuff, and I don't think there's anybody left or around that can potentially like take the throne and say like, I'm in charge of the Seven Kingdoms. I just think they're kind of gonna go the way of like city states, and the North is gonna be the
I'm
North.
just gonna work it out.
The North is gonna be the North
It's like,
now,
screw it. If Trump's who we're going to get, we want no president.
Yeah, and the South is gonna be the South. It's just gonna be 7 Texases. They're all their own countries.
We all succeed, yeah.
God.
You know.
Okay. All right.
I think no dragons survive.
No dragons.
Survive. So she had 3,
Is there a
Joe.
solid count of dragons? Okay.
She had 3. 2 of them are dead already.
I figured there was like countless dragons. So.
No, there's only 2.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Those
surprised.
3 eggs that she got.
No.
Joe, go get our food. Joe's got to go get our food, but I'll still talk about what I want to talk about.
Oh man, Joe, hurry up.
I wouldn't be surprised if they showed potentially like, oh, there might be more dragons, that kind of thing,
Okay.
or
yeah.
whatever. But I don't think
I
the
kinda
remaining
hope so.
dragon survives.
I kind of hope there's lots of little stuff like that.
Yeah. And then kind of going along with my first thing about the Seven Kingdoms split up, I think Sansa becomes the queen in the North
Okay.
instead of like Jon Snow being king
yeah.
of the North. or
Like
anything
she's
like
kind
that.
of been, or she was like
I think
the
she's
Lord
already
of the North, kind
yeah,
of.
she's already like that, but I think she like
Okay.
is queen officially of that.
Yeah.
And then I have one more, but I just think they hint. So Joe wanted a cliffhanger in a way,
yeah.
and I think they do the same thing that they did in the first episode, where they had like the beginning where like something bad happened in the North and winter was coming, and the
Yeah.
like zombie people or whatever. You knew shit was going down.
Yeah.
I think they hint towards like the Night King might be dead,
Uh-huh.
and they killed the White Walkers kind of thing,
Yeah.
but they really didn't.
Yeah.
So I think they're hinting towards like, oh, in another 1,000 years, like, or whatever,
Yeah.
they're coming back. Like,
Yeah.
they're stirring still.
I think I don't think I wrote that, but I totally think that too.
Yeah. So I think there's going to be a hint towards more winter
More death.
enemies north of the wall.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So those are mine.
Sad.
Those
Depressing.
are mine.
Okay.
So I guess to
Yeah.
be clear, my answer is nobody wins the Iron Throne.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure I have an answer for that.
Well, you're going to have to take a stance at some point
Oof,
in the next
okay.
2 minutes.
Okay.
One of the pups wins it.
Ooh, man. I hope
I mean,
so.
I guess they're full on dogs now. I got.
Well,
8 years
many
later.
of them are
Well,
dead.
Some of them are dogs. Some of them are bones.
Oh man, some of them are she-wolves in charge of their own wolf clans. Okay. Isn't that Arya's? Like she runs into Arya's wolf.
Yeah,
Oh,
Arya-
maybe that's a middle season you haven't seen.
I know that happens.
That's in a book.
I-
She like tries to get the wolf to like come with her, but it's like leading a pack of like normal wolves. Okay, number 1. So this show is pretty stocked full of just sex and boobies everywhere
Mhm.
constantly. I think we're gonna get no sex nor boobies in this episode. That's
Okay.
my number 1 prediction. Number 2, I think Tyrion kills someone.
I hope he kills a naked woman.
Oh man,
Or I hope a naked woman kills Tyrion. So you're wrong twice.
Oh man. I thought you were gonna say something like I hope he kills a woman and then like pops her boobie out just to take a look.
Oh, man.
To just be like, huh, okay.
Murdering's
And then walk away.
already weird enough, Jimmy. We don't need to pop a boobie out after we killed them.
Tyrion, some crazy stuff is happening.
Tyrion's a good boy.
War does things to people, Okay, so number 3, I think the Starks win, or like they have like the best like claim to the throne. And I also want to say like the Starks as we know them from the pilot.
I don't know what you mean by that.
From Winter is Coming. The people who are Starks currently in the pilot, I think, have the best claim
Okay.
to the throne,
You can,
but they don't want it.
everyone
They walk away from
everyone
it.
listening to
Yeah,
the
you can,
show
like,
right
spoil
now.
things.
It's
for
just
me,
Joe that I'm not. Yeah, okay.
I know.
So Jon
I'm about
Snow.
to watch the last episode.
So we learned.
Joe
right,
doesn't care. Yeah.
right. You'll learn all this in 5 minutes. But Jon Snow is not actually a Stark. It turns out that
Oh.
he is the son of Ned's sister who died.
Okay.
Is
And
technically
in her dying moments, she tells him that actually it's not Robert Baratheon's son, which we think for several seasons, that he's like heir to the throne because he's Robert Baratheon's son.
No, I think he's.
But he's actually a Targaryen who she was in love with. So she's like Dragon Lady's
Twist.
He's. I'm pretty
Dragon
sure
Lady's
Dragon Lady.
nep-
Dragon Lady is his
nephew.
aunt.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. twist.
He's also Stippener.
I think he,
He's
Targaryens like to shtup each other.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's true. But
I
they
like it.
It's not the weirdest incest in the show.
They like
That's
banging each other so much that they started banging each other before they
Before
even
they
knew they
knew.
were related. That's
Yeah.
how drawn Targaryens
Yeah.
are to banging each other.
So I think Jon like wins the throne, but he doesn't want it. Walks away from it.
I mean, he constantly says he doesn't want it.
Yeah. But I think like so he has like the great. Okay. Anyway, and then number 4, I think someone that we thought has been dead is alive. That's my prediction.
Did you see my?
Could be the Night King.
Did you see my
I don't know.
tweet from on First and Last on our Twitter the other day?
I don't know.
I said that I hope that headless zombie Ned Stark comes out of the the shadows and kills everybody, and then rides off on Daenerys' dragon, and that ends the show.
Nice.
The return of Sean Bean.
Yeah, Sean Bean. He's like, I've been dead the whole time, but it doesn't
Is that how you
matter.
pronounce his name? Is it Sean Bon?
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean.
Is it Scene Bean?
Sean Bean. Is that right?
Like Sean Bon.
Okay,
Sean
I'll
Bean.
take it. Are we ready to dive into this last episode then?
Let's get it.
I think so.
Get it.
Turn on the
Yes.
HBO
Get it
machine.
home.
Nailed it. All right, we will see you guys after the finale of Game of Thrones, and thoroughly.
I think headless Ned is the on the Iron Throne.
He's the final boss.
It's just his head.
He's the final. It's just his head. On the,
Just his head on the
oh,
phone.
too bad. All right, so we'll see you after the finale of Game of Thrones. Hey, we're back from the finale of Game of Thrones. Welcome to the most accurate review of Game of Thrones ever. First and Last podcast.
This is the most accurate.
Yeah, for sure.
The thrones were gamed.
Oh, yeah, we gamed all those thrones.
Yeah.
So,
Game of Throats.
Game of Throats. The gay porn.
Whoa.
The gay porn.
Yeah, that's the whole title.
Honestly, one of the best things of Game of Thrones for me is like the couple days after when Funny or Die does the Game of Thrones recap. Have you guys seen those at all?
You just love wordplay.
It's yeah, for sure.
Or you just love Jonathan from Queer Eye?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
it-
he does a good job.
Who doesn't love Jonathan from Queer Eye?
Well, it's always him and like a random celebrity, and it's just always just a stitch,
Just mute this later.
just a stitch.
Oh, God, what did you do, Joe? We're off to a good start. Joe's microphone is...
It's getting worse.
It literally, like, turned like the Exorcist's
Tighten a
head.
little bit there.
the girl from The Exorcist.
That'll be completely edited out, right?
No, it's
All
all in.
It's going right back.
It's going right in. Jimmy, we just finished watching this episode live. Is there a write-up?
I mean, no. Well, there is one, but it's
really?
one sentence, and it says, "In the aftermath of the devastating attack on King's Landing, Daenerys must face the survivors."
Yeah. Should I give you my write-up since I haven't seen this?
Nice.
So it looks like some important city was burned to the ground
Yeah.
by Daenerys. What if I just hold this?
Yeah, maybe you have to.
And she's like a crazy queen now, commanding a large army of different races, and she's got a dragon, and Tyrion is being sentenced to death, and he tells Jon that you gotta like kill the queen because she's trying to like be Hitler and shit.
I wrote down. I
very real.
literally wrote down Hitler vibes in my notes.
Yeah,
It's definitely some sort of warlord.
very Nazi vibes. There's like a giant banner.
That big red banner.
It was not looking good.
That got a little Nazi-ish.
And so he does. Well, they kiss. Well, I feel like I'm missing important things that are important to the show. Where
Nah, you're doing
she
great.
walks up to the
You're
throne,
doing great.
and it's snowing, and she's like gonna like sit in it or like
There
just touch it.
There was
She
some
just kind of
like
fondles it.
she had like a dream or like a
Fondler of
premonition
thrones.
Uh-huh.
that like of her at the Iron Throne, and it was snowing.
Okay.
But in her premonition that we as the viewer saw, I think, because I read this, I never saw this. Jimmy's wife watched it with us, Michelle, and she told me about this
Yeah.
during the show. But she said, Michelle said that they never showed Daenerys sitting down on the throne.
Okay.
So
Like
it was
in her
like
premonition,
she got
yeah.
to that point
Gotcha.
in the premonition as if she took the Iron Throne.
Mm-hmm.
But then, Joe, what happened?
So she touches it, and then Jon shows up, and he's like, "Hey, man, all that shit was fucked up where you killed everybody." And she's like,
Yeah, remember that?
"Yeah," and she's like, "Nazi, Nazi, Nazi," and then they kiss.
So
And he's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, you're my queen, whatever."
I mean, she did say, "We decide what is good."
Yeah.
And then he said, what if literally everybody else in the world doesn't think what you think is good?
Yeah.
She said, and I quote, "They don't get to decide."
They don't decide because they're not me.
Because I'm
Yeah.
Hitler.
You-
I mean Daenerys.
She's the queen.
I don't know who Hitler is yet.
I mean, she's not, for the world that she lives in, she's not wrong, right? She's the queen. She decides
Yeah.
what's what.
She's literally the
Now
queen
kiss
now.
me.
Yeah. Kiss me, nephew.
I'll be honest. I thought twice while she was on top of the big stairs talking to her legion of Hitlerettes.
Mm-hmm.
Hitler.
Nazis is what they're called.
Oh, yes.
Hitler and the Hitlerettes.
Oh god, that is a horrible band name or dance troupe.
When she was talking to them, like Jon Snow walked up the stairs, and I was like, he's just gonna like cap her right here. Like I thought he might have
He
just.
was gonna bust a cap.
I thought he was just gonna like do a little head slice.
Yeah. He walked up a long staircase to get there, and I thought somebody was going
Yeah.
to fall down the staircase. I didn't know who.
I thought either it was gonna be there or when Tyrion like walked up behind her. I thought maybe he was gonna do it or at least slash like an Achilles.
Because he's short. Was that a short
That's
joke?
not a okay.
that
Let's
Was
come
that
on.
He's like, haha, that's 6 to 8 months in rehab.
was that an imp
Well,
joke?
no, I was
Jimmy?
just thinking because he wasn't like armed, but he had like maybe his little hand pin. He could have
He's gonna take
took
out
a
his little
slice
pin and stab her
just
a bunch
a little
of times.
a slice. Could have taken a chunk out, you know.
That queen.
He could have hit an artery, for sure.
Got her in the femoral, like
Yeah.
right in the thigh.
Yes,
Yeah.
Michelle would be so proud.
So
Talking about arteries.
Daenerys is doing like a sexy like Emperor Palpatine thing, and is like,
She is.
let's rule the galaxy together.
I mean, she's definitely looking better than Emperor Palpatine.
You could for sure name her a sexy Palpatine.
And then they kiss, and then like one of them goes, whoa, and like I thought that it was Jon at first, like Jon had gotten stabbed.
Yeah, it was tough to tell.
Yeah, they were definitely like playing it like
Yeah,
suspensefully.
you're not sure.
I never once thought it, John
Yeah.
got hurt there.
Yeah, and then they back out, and like it turns out Jon stabbed Daenerys, and then the dragon shows up, and he's like doing like kind of like a little baby Simba thing like Mufasa dies, like trying to wake up Daenerys. Like, wake up,
But he's
Mama.
a giant dragon and not a tiny
Yeah.
tiger cub.
Yeah,
lion cub.
I mean, watch it. That's what happened.
I know.
Yeah, true.
And we'll get to. I mean, people are already mad. People are already very, very mad at
Why?
this point.
Okay,
we're
well,
watching.
explain to me why people are mad at this.
People are probably mad because they wanted Daenerys to like win
Okay.
fully,
Word.
and now she's dead.
I will say that because that she dies, and that's pretty much the end of her mentions or anything in the rest of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's maybe 15 minutes in,
No,
20 minutes in.
It was a
no,
it was
I
a
think,
ways in.
I think it was 45 minutes in
Oh,
because
that
I think it
it was
was.
an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And I remember when that happened, I literally said, "So what happens for the next 45?"
Okay,
minutes?
yeah, okay.
Right.
I think I thought it was an hour or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, as someone who's not seen the show, I thought that it was weird that they didn't reference back to her at all for that.
They
rest of the
referenced
45
her
minutes.
dragon again
Yeah,
Yeah,
they,
they said,
they
"Oh,
asked
they're
where the
dragon
dragon
foodies."
was.
because Bran was like, "I'll find her."
Yeah, like I thought she was either gonna show up at the end or John was gonna like make some sort of reference to her in like the final montage, but there's nothing. She's dead. That's
I
it.
kind of half expected Drogon to be like the dragon, to be like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh man, that sucks. I guess you're my dad now, John."
Mhm.
But it flew away.
He left with her.
Yeah, it picked her up and flew away.
So now it's just a
Oh,
dragon.
but he melted the Iron Throne.
Oh yeah. Before the dragon flew off, he got furious and melted the Iron Throne.
I know it's funny because I know there's also going to be people probably, and I think it's maybe worth it because I guess you probably don't talk about too much in the show, but like obviously that dragon had a lot of like self-awareness and knew like what she wanted
Uh-huh.
and was real mad that she was dead,
Yeah.
but like still weirdly like showed John like mercy, like, you
By
know,
not killing him.
yeah, but like still melted the throne and went away. But like dragons are really, really smart. They're supposed to be like pretty much human level smart, I think.
Gotcha.
They're basically dolphins
Yeah.
that breathe fire.
So that was intentional mercy that Drogon was
I
giving. to Jon
mean
then.
I think he was like I think he's like, I know who you are.
Mhm.
You did a shitty thing, but I don't think I'm allowed to kill Targaryens. I don't know. I feel like
Oh, maybe that.
Yeah,
maybe
maybe.
that's
Maybe
what
it
it
was-
was. Targaryen blood.
it's also possible because we've never seen it and it never happened. But it is possible that he couldn't kill Jon with his fire.
Yeah. Maybe
Oh.
John is
because
also.
Targaryens can like don't get burned,
Hmm.
or
I
at
mean,
least
one of them
Daenerys
got his
didn't.
face melted.
Well, that was gold. That wasn't fire.
He's trying to.
Yeah.
He tries to
Those heat.
burn John with his flames, and he just melts off his clothes. He's
Yeah.
just naked.
Just Jon Snow hanging
Yeah,
down.
that's what happens when
That
Daenerys
is
like
what
finds out that she can't.
Does that literally happen in the show?
Yeah.
It happens. That's
my
how the
God.
dragons get born. Is
Well-
she takes her dragon balls, dragon eggs, her Dragon Ball Z's into like a pyre, like a funeral pyre,
Uh-huh.
and everyone's like, "No, don't die, Queen!" And then like the next morning, like she's in there just naked with dragon babies.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty bomb.
It's the full-on babies.
Yep. She is the mother of dragons.
Cool.
She birthed them.
So what happens after that? Drogon flies off. Oh, and then Tyrion comes to trial.
Mm-hmm.
But when he shows up, it's like all of the lords of the several kingdoms there.
Yeah, it's all the remaining Starks.
Uh-huh.
The little Mormont girl.
The lords of Westeros that are left.
There's a guy from Dorne. There's the Eerie kid.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people. Davos is there. So a lot of people.
There's a lot of people there, and they're trying to decide.
Everyone who's still alive.
Yeah, they're trying to decide Tyrion's fate, and then within that, they decide, well, it should be really like the king or queen of Westeros that decides his fate.
Right.
And they say, oh, well, we don't have one, and Tyrion says, well, you guys got to pick one.
And then Grey Worm's like, yeah, I'm cool with that. Like that mildly seemed weird to me.
Yeah.
I mean, he's very like
Yeah.
duty like kind of thing, and
Okay,
I think
so he follows the rules.
I kind of think he knows
Yeah.
what the rules are, and this is
Yeah.
what's supposed to happen in this country now. Like,
Yeah.
there's no
He
king or
knows
queen.
his place.
So yeah, they
Sure.
decide that they're gonna whatchamacallit, they're gonna pick a king or queen, and this dude who looks like Gilbert Gottfried mixed with Beto O'Rourke like gets up and he's like, I'm a veteran of 2 wars and I've served blah blah blah, and then Sansa's like, "My man, sit down."
Yeah, you're making a fool of yourself.
Which was fucking great. And he just like doesn't say anything, and he just like he kind of like stumbles around and then sits back down.
I think they call him like the old fish or something like that.
Is he just a joke of a human or what?
No, here's
A little bit.
he's not a joke in the book though.
Okay.
He's such a cool dude in the book.
They make him marry like an ugly lady of Walder Frey's, who's the guy from Harry Potter, and he's also the guy who was in the old guy in The Strain.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, man.
And he's come on, the old guy with the sword who's like cutting off vampires' heads.
Mm.
Are there vampires in that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I started to watch that and I never finished it. Pretty good.
So they told that guy to sit down. They can't decide. And Tyrion's idea is that we're going to make Bran the king because Bran the Broken is like, he's got stories because he fell out of a window and then he learned to fly.
He's going to tell you stories.
And he's like been there for all this stuff.
I thought for sure Tyrion was setting that up to be like, so your prisoner Jon is actually Targaryen, actually the heir to the throne. And he did not even mention that.
By the way, that guy's name was Brendan Tully, and he's called the
Cat's sister.
Yeah,
brother.
He's the black fish. That's what they call
The
him.
blackfish.
And,
Blackfish.
he's dope in the books. He's not a fool. It's the only part of this episode I'm mad about.
He's a
Ruin
little
that
bit of
Continue.
He's a little
Rewrite
bit of a
season 8.
comedic relief in this.
I don't think they did it right. We need to rewrite the whole last episode. Sign my
the
petition.
whole red wedding is like because it's his wedding.
Mm-hmm.
That happens.
Well, he doesn't kill everybody.
No, and he doesn't even get killed. Literally, he did nothing in that. Where the hell was he?
That was
his whole
part of
family
his-
was murdered.
That was
He had
part of
one-
his campaign speech. It was like, I was at the Red Wedding and I did not kill anyone.
I can survive weddings.
I was there, but it wasn't me.
Vote for me.
Biden 2020.
Oh, too real.
Diamond Joe.
I lived in the White House.
I know my way around. Just put me back in.
I know how to turn the lights off, on and on.
Okay, what
Off
now?
and on. So they
What
decide
else?
on Bran, and
Yeah.
then everybody agrees.
And also, his title is Bran the Broken.
Bran the Broken, which is kind of fucked up. You think his like first like act as king would
It's
be like,
so
hey.
funny because he's like, "You're Bran the Broken," and he's like, "I don't feel feelings anymore. I don't give a shit." So many. Oh, I can't wait. I need to get on Twitter right now. 'Cause
I mean,
so many people are gonna be mad about this.
I was scrolling through and I was surprised I didn't see as much as I was hoping.
I
Must be my
thought it was
algorithm.
pretty cool because it's like the idea here is we're picking someone to be king who doesn't want to be king, and that's good for the world. Is that like we aren't ruled by like power hungry people anymore?
Well, and he's got such a Bran is so you know Bran because he got pushed out of the window.
He's
so
good at
that's
climbing,
That's how you he was good at climbing.
Oh, man.
He's got to work on his grip strength these days because he can't lift with his legs
yeah,
anymore.
he can still get on those boulders.
But he did. You know him do that, but he became what's called a warg, so he can like project his like mind into people and animals
Okay.
and like be that. So that's why like
Did you say he's a Borg?
warg,
He
WARG.
assimilates?
He learned how to, so he could fly because he learned how to like he was like in birds.
He was in a bird,
like
learned
In
from
the
bird.
Ravens.
Mhm. He did a bunch.
He like projects.
Yeah, he can project
he
himself.
would like project himself into his wolf a lot.
So that was kind of funny because they mentioned that because they were like, "Oh, we don't know where the dragon is." Later on, and he's like, "Maybe I can find him." And it's like, you totally know where this dragon
Oh.
is because he could presumably throw his mind into that dragon's head
Yeah.
and then just make it come back.
See, when he did that, or when he said that, I thought he meant he was just gonna fly to the dragon
He can't like
because I knew he can fly.
he can't like fly. He can't just stand up and whoosh away.
Oh, I thought I pictured him in his chair just flying off.
Like, his chair's a magic carpet.
Yeah.
So, but so he's got like special powers, and he also has the memories of everything forever.
Yeah.
He knows. He basically knows everything. He literally is kind of human god,
So make that guy king. Yeah, that sounds great.
but he doesn't have like he can't like zap you into being a thing. You know, he can't like
Uh-huh.
make you be a potato or like turn you into a goat or anything.
Yeah.
But
So he knew he was going to be king this whole time.
he already knew. He already knew.
Oh,
'Cause-
because when
he was
Tyrion
like-
said
Yeah.
like, "Do you want to be king or whatever?" and he was like, "Why do you think I fucking showed up, my man?"
Yeah, he's like, it was really hard for you to get here, and he's like, yeah, I know, I'm here.
Yeah.
There's a reason why
It's
I'm
like,
here.
do you know how many ramps are in this place? None.
0 ramps. No accessibility.
Fucking dragon burnt all the ramps.
That's gonna change, by the way.
No stairs. My first decree. No stairs in Westeros.
Just ramps.
Just ramps.
Ramperos.
Sweet ramps so we could do jumps off of.
I like Ramperos.
Thank you.
Changing it. It's not long in 7 Kingdoms, 6 Kingdoms.
I was
Ramperos.
watching a dude, this little guy skate down like University Ave in Minneapolis, and he tried to do a kickflip, and he just shot his deck into heavy traffic. It was like a semi coming out, and everyone on the sidewalk just like held their breath and like watched this thing like it was gonna get just crushed.
Just a
Did it-
dart.
did it
flying
get
out
crushed?
It didn't, and the mom ran out there and grabbed it,
Good mom.
and I was like, dude, that could have been a travesty.
So I think everything after that is just kind of epilogue stuff,
Kinda
right?
clean up.
Because they decide Bran's gonna be
King.
king, but then they also decide, or Sansa speaks up and says that the North should be its separate kingdom outside of the 6.
I mean, she just said, like,
Outside of the
she's
7.
like,
Outside of the 7,
she's like,
yeah.
we're not bending the knee anymore.
Word.
And the king, the North used to be separate.
Is the North same
Forever.
as Winterfell?
That's the North.
Okay,
Winterfell's
cool.
part of the North, yeah.
Gotcha.
And
It's like-
Winterfell's like the biggest part, like the biggest
Like
castle
the
in the
capital
North.
city. Gotcha.
Everyone in the
Yeah.
North kind of looks towards Winterfell as
Gotcha.
their guide.
Okay,
So,
so it's
Like
where
the
we started.
closest.
yeah.
Okay,
And then,
so yeah, so Sansa's gonna be the queen of the North,
hmm
and then they're sending Jon Snow off to the Night Watch because people will be pissed off either way if they like either kill him or free him. So they're just sending him away.
so he's just starting his story over again.
Yeah. And then while they're sending him away, Arya says that she's gonna go west of Westeros to go explore.
Because there's no maps.
What's west of Westeros?
America.
Yeah. So we were talking about how like the Starks have pretty much taken over everything.
Yeah, they took literally everything over. They're
Yo, what did you say, Joe?
I said because we were saying that like Jon's off in the North and is going to be the leader there. Sansa's the queen of the North. Bran is the king of everything else, and then and then Arya is going to go be the queen of stuff they haven't even found yet.
yeah.
Just covering all their bases of known and unknown kingdoms.
And then do we mention Tyrion's the hand again? Bran made.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Tyrion is the hand of Bran. And Tyrion's like, I don't want that. But Bran was like, fuck, I don't want to be king either, my man.
Yeah, that was pretty good. He's like, I don't want to be a hand, and he's like, I don't want to be king. And he's like, And then he made a good point because he was like, but I've done a lot of bad shit. And then he's like, yeah, and now you're gonna spend the rest of your life
Fixing it.
fixing all the bad shit you did.
I like that.
Yeah, that was a
And
nice
Tyrion-
spin
I'm
on
into all
that.
that.
Tyrion's
To make Grey Worm happy, because
Tyrion's a good guy. He's always been a good guy.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
for sure.
Always, and he will be a good
Yeah.
guy.
And then they also decree that like from then on, the king or queen of the 6 kingdoms won't be by birth. It'll be chosen by the lords of the separate
Yeah.
kingdoms.
Yeah.
Just a republic now.
Which is
A representative
Not a
republic.
democratic. Yeah, right. Not a democratic
Which is-
republic, but
which
republic
is-
nonetheless.
which is in a way a thing that Daenerys wanted
Yeah,
to be. It was the wheel she wanted to be broken.
they said that. Yeah.
They have an electoral college.
Which is we forgot a part where I think it's Sam. Was he the fat guy?
Yeah.
Sam was like, hey, if this like king or whatever is gonna be the lord of everybody and it's for the good of everybody, maybe everybody should decide. And like they literally just like lull him off the stage. They're just like, yeah,
That's
right.
good.
Get the
I was
fuck
gonna
outta
be
here.
pissed if they actually went that route. Like, it's just not believable.
Yeah. How would they even tally the votes? They just have the dragon fly around.
They just literally had
Bran's
to make
gonna count them?
tallies. It's literal chalk drawings.
Everybody raise your hand. We'll come around.
So there's a
Wait, who am I voting for?
there's a council of people of representatives. Let's call them senators.
Sure.
And they decide who's gonna be king. So
Um,
and then so then
yeah. What else you got?
that's pretty much it. I mean, like the Starks are all doing all their
I've got
shit now.
some
The Starks
fun.
win. The
Yeah.
Starks won everything.
Yeah, uh-huh.
But I thought it was interesting. They had like a meeting, the hand, because the hand had a meeting with all the people that were in the 6 kingdoms.
Those are the maesters
Those are
Well,
the
So they're the masters
is
of the
that
things. They're the
called?
people like in charge of
of
everything.
certain things.
Yeah.
they're
It's
the
the
cabinet.
cabinet.
They're the
They're
cabinet.
They're the cabinet.
Yeah.
And it was funny because it was Tyrion, obviously, and then it was like
It's like
Davos.
Tyrion's like first day back on the job.
It was like Davos was something. I forget.
Master of ships.
Is that what it was?
Mhm.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because Davos is the Onion Knight, right?
Yep.
He
was a smuggler.
and then it was Brienne,
ships.
but I think she was captain of the Golden Company, probably the Kingsguard.
The Kingsguard, yeah. Golden Company's
The Golden Company's something else.
the sellswords.
And then it was Sam, and he was the new Grandmeister.
Mm-hmm.
He's essentially just like
Sweet.
lesser Pope is basically what Sam is now.
Yeah. Like a healer.
Yeah, I mean he's just like he's like the king of nonprofits.
Supposed to be
Is really
wise.
what he is.
Okay.
Is what he is. And then there was, what's that guy's name? Is his name
Bronn?
Braun? It's hard because his name's Braun and the other guy's name's Bran.
Yeah.
But he's Braun, and
Master
Braun's a
of coin?
huge piece of shit.
Yeah.
And he's
That's what it
always
seemed like,
and he's
yeah.
always been a big piece of shit.
He was like talking over
and
people.
he's not trustworthy. He's not anything. And he's the master of coin.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they obviously did it because he was like, we should make brothels. We got no more brothels.
Yeah.
And they're like,
well, he did do a great job throughout the whole series of he's always looking out for number one. So like by now he's like helped out and like just been like a mercenary for really powerful people, including Lannisters. So now he's got all these like properties. He's like,
did he get Harrenhal?
he got Harrenhal.
Isn't Harrenhal the haunted one that is
Harrenhal's
cursed?
the shitty one that like was like melted by dragons.
Haunted.
But then doesn't he also have the Lannister one?
Oh, Casterly Rock?
I think well, at one point he was promised Casterly Rock,
He might have it.
but I should've-
Lannisport,
yeah, Lannisport,
or is that a separate
Bridgewater.
I mean, I don't know what Lannisport is, to be honest, but Casterly Rock is like Lannister's big
It's their
castle
house. Yeah,
Mm.
I don't know. He's got like a couple different things, so I think he's just high up there that he gets a seat at the table.
thing? Stillwater.
Probably.
thing. I mean,
Maiden
all
Prairie.
in all, that's pretty much everything that happened.
Yeah.
Joe
There's lots of little things that happened.
as the most outsider of all three of us into
Yeah.
the show. How did you feel about this being a final episode?
It looked good. It seemed
Better of it would probably cost like
Yeah.
$10 million
It
at the
seemed
least.
like you were saying a lot of people are gonna be mad about separate things, but I could see a lot of things in that where people might get like a little happiness just because like it seemed like a lot of different characters got at least the Starks, Arya, Bran, Sansa, and Jon Snow got something.
I mean, John went to the north, but I mean, I feel like he was probably like, hell yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what he wanted.
they all got
along.
like a good ending, right? Tyrion found his place. Daenerys had an epic ending.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
feel like if you're at least into any one of those characters, you had something that you're like, cool.
Good
I'm
guys
into that.
win.
I mean, I kind of think if you're just like a reasonable logic viewer of this show and you watched what happened this whole season,
Yeah,
I think it makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
I think even in this last episode, I just feel like you even got like a feeling of like who these people are a little bit.
uh-huh.
And I think they just made the decisions that you think they would make in that thing. Like John
Yeah.
can't let like bad things happen, and he tries to do the good, like the greater good kind of
Right.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it.
Yeah.
And then
At this point in the show that you've built these characters up, you just want them to stay true to their character, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And like let it play out however it plays out.
I think that is what
Yeah.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah. I mean, Danny, there's a big turn in Danny last episode.
I mean,
where
it,
she's
like-
just gone nuts.
it like was a big turn, but they've been setting it up. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even Tyrion like talked about it before. He was like, they crucified all those people outside the other thing, but they were bad, so you didn't care.
Right.
They burned all these other people, but you didn't care because they were bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Now she finally did it to people
And
that
like
you
other
think were
people
innocent.
saw it like coming
Yeah.
Yeah.
before.
Like,
And yeah, I mean that exactly that. And granted I haven't seen the show, but like from that talk from Tyrion, I was like, oh yeah, like this makes sense for that type of character, that this person who comes through and thinks that they're a liberator, but is really just like following their own worldview.
then that's good, and I like that because it's like people and me including have been like cheering for this person
Yeah,
for 8 years, 10 years, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh wait, she's the bad guy. Like, you know, like, and pretty legitimately the bad guy.
Yeah. So I could see that being, like again, true to her character,
But hard to deal.
even if you didn't really see it at first.
But hard to deal with for a lot of people because like you don't want to be like, well, it's okay. She burned those people in the city, but like
Yeah.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, no, she's not a good person. And like the way she was talking to John, it's like, about the good, they don't get to decide. It's like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
What you got, Jimmy?
Okay, so just a couple things we haven't said is so I guess the show starts on, well, previously on, but then it goes into Tyrion and Jon and Davos just walking through like the Ashen City,
Mm-hmm.
or I guess it could have been snowing. It was at some point it looked like it was just ash
it
falling,
did
and
start
then
to
it
snow
turned
at some
into
point.
snow at some
Mhm.
point. And then they just stumble upon Grey Worm being a horrible person and slitting throats. And that whole thing was just kind of weird. Grey Worm. So then eventually at the end, Grey Worm and it looks like the Unsullied, they're like getting on a ship and just sailing off into the sunset.
Oh, at
That's
the end,
their,
They
yeah.
said they were going somewhere specific.
going to,
I
like,
forget.
The island of
Nath
Nan?
Nath or something like that.
Nath?
I think that's the
Nath?
place that he said he wanted him and Melisande to go.
Yeah. So he's just been pissed that
So I think he's just in charge of the Unsullied still.
Cersei killed his lady,
Yeah.
beheaded her, and now he's just murdered
Yeah.
everyone.
So even that like secondary character still like has an ending, right? Like
Mhm.
they
Mm-hmm.
it seems like they tried to give each character an ending.
Pretty much everybody
Yeah.
that had a face and a name,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you pretty much knew they weren't dead. You
Yeah.
knew what happened to them.
I mean, John Wolf's wolf came back, right? Jon Snow's wolf came back.
Yeah. One-eared ghost.
Isn't his wolf named Snow too? I think his wolf is just named
Just call
Snow.
him Snow.
It's called
'Cause it's-
Ghost.
Oh, is that one Ghost?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ghost.
isn't there
Snow,
one
'cause
called
it's white.
Snow?
I don't think so.
Maybe. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
That's John's name.
Yeah.
Then kind of a big thing that happens is Tyrion like goes through like the path that he told Jaime to take Cersei.
Oh yeah.
Because he let Jaime escape, and then he went down to Cersei to find to try to get her out of King's Landing before it was all destroyed.
I'm glad they did that too. I'm really glad they did that.
You mean Tyrion going down to see
Tyrion
them?
going down and
Find his incestlings.
and so and so we could see
That
Jaime and Cersei dead
They're
Yeah.
dead for
because
sure.
they died off camera.
Uh-huh.
And presumably they were dead, but in Game of Thrones doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Jaime has died off camera like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in the show.
Yeah.
That was a great. I mean, that was a really well shot, just like scene and like bit of acting too, where it was like silent for a long time, and it's just Tyrion digging through the rubble.
Well, and I think that's what I thought when a lot of the things about this episode were very not what this last whole season was. This whole season was really rushed.
Yeah.
And they took their time on every scene in this.
Uh-huh.
They like John walked up the stairs, Tyrion walked through a thing. They had that huge long talk, or when they walked through the burning city in the beginning. Like they spent a lot of time really not talking and observing, or just like talking about things, and not that's it. There wasn't like action.
Yeah.
They just were like, these are characters. Deal with these characters.
And it gives the audience enough time to look at this and be like, holy shit, this happened. This city got burned down. Like, and holy shit, both the Lannisters are dead, or the Lannister siblings are dead at least.
Yeah.
And to like mentally process that.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed
liked
that.
it.
I enjoyed that they slowed it all down.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of this season, like the first episode is kind of like that, and where it's like just the gathering of like every character.
Well, I mean, yeah, this season and last season they were like, we're in Winterfell, we're doing something.
And it was slow.
Now we're down south already. Like they just skipped
Yeah,
the
right.
travels.
They skipped
Where in the
stuff.
first couple seasons, I mean, there was an episode about them walking from Winterfell to the Red Keep, or to what's that place called?
King's Landing.
King's Landing. I forgot the name of the town. But they like there's a whole episode of them just traveling.
Yeah.
They would never have done that in these last couple seasons because they
Sure.
didn't have time.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they took the time in this last episode.
So the only other big thing was that Brienne finished off Jaime's Knights page or whatever, his like history, and kind of left it vague that he was like a good guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Because she wrote he died protecting his queen,
Yep.
which I think that's intentionally ambiguous of like,
Yeah.
because she probably meant, it probably literally means Cersei,
yeah,
right? But
Yeah.
now in the annals of history, it's just like, oh, he was just doing his duty.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure his first thing like says like, I mean, he's called like the Kingslayer in that book already
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
right.
because people are not cool with what he did,
Yeah.
even though he like everything was better because he killed the Mad King.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
But
because
he
he was the king's supposed to be protecting the king.
Yeah, he was on like the king's Kingsguard,
Okay.
and he killed his king
Okay.
before.
Sure.
So
So it's
He
a
gets a lot of shit for that.
it's a turn for his character and an ending for him that he died protecting the queen.
mhm.
Okay.
Even though that was
Really
a very
cool.
even though it was a very bad evil queen,
I mean, word.
but he still did it.
Yeah.
Shit's complicated.
Especially when you're banging her and you're blood related and you're twins.
It's neither here nor there, Jimmy. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, but there's your siblings, and then there's your first siblings. There's
That's
your
not,
second siblings.
that's not how it works.
And then there's the siblings that are carrying your children, and then there's ones that aren't
Yeah.
yet.
Your imp siblings.
Yeah, there's the ones that can't carry your children, and then there's the ones that can.
Hmm.
So you bang those ones.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's Westeros, so you bang whoever.
What Game of Thrones taught me is you can bang your siblings as long as you rule the country.
Cool.
Yeah,
When
you
you-
know if you're famous, they'll let you do whatever.
When
Grab
you-
him by the pussy.
Oh no, no,
Sorry, can we edit that out?
no,
It's too late.
it's in there forever.
The throne was in all of us.
The
What?
whole time.
Wait.
The throne was in
In
our hearts
that?
the whole time.
Oh.
All in all, I'm
Alright.
very happy about this ending. I think it was good. I think it
Yeah,
ended
internet.
well.
Suck it.
Calm down, internet. It was great. The show was great. It ended good.
Yeah.
You're bad if you think this was bad.
Everyone, so many people are.
You are bad.
People are just upset about this just to be upset about things, which is just what the internet is now. But like, I was watching this season and just enjoying it, just having a great time. Like, oh, crazy stuff's happening because that's what this show is.
I will say that the internet taught me in the last 6 weeks of this show being on. It definitely taught me to go, oh, because I like Game of Thrones a lot.
Mhm.
Obviously, I read the books most, and then I watched I've probably seen. There's 8 seasons now, so I saw 5 of the 8 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I wanted things to happen, and I mean, if I would sit down and think, I was like, no, that's not how I would have written this out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm
Sure.
like, but this season hit, and I was like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm just gonna sit and I'm gonna watch this happen, and I'm gonna let it play out. And I think that's how we need to do everything.
Yeah.
Like, not get mad and just be like, cool.
I'm gonna be glad to watch this show starting now with just the absence of the internet following along with me.
Yeah,
That's
that
gonna
could be
great.
fun.
Yeah, it's much more enjoyable.
You're gonna finish all of Game of Thrones before you finish Frasier, aren't you?
Maybe, who knows?
You son of a bitch.
Damn it, Joe. So I'm good. I'm happy
Yeah.
with it. I'm giving Game of Thrones the first and last thumb up.
All right. Full on thumb.
The full thumb right up there.
I'm giving it 1 thumb. Anyone else with me? It's our new rating
I'll
system.
give it like a pinky.
All right, 1 thumb, 1 pinky.
I'll point with my pointer finger.
Oh man, everything's
One in
going
the
up
sky.
though
Yeah.
for Game of Thrones. Nowhere to go but up.
All right.
Cool.
I guess
Just 3
we
fingers.
still have predictions, right?
Oh yeah, shoot.
Yeah, let's do a quick
Let's do that quick. This is
Um,
the longest episode yet.
I
You
had
got
Arya uses her marksmanship critically, which she didn't. She didn't shoot anything. I mean, did she in the show? Does the marksmanship come up ever?
Oh, she kills all kinds of stuff.
But is she like shooting stuff?
I think she's okay with the bow and arrow.
Okay. I have that Tyrion gets a big death scene, which not quite.
He's very much alive.
yeah.
He's alive.
So my prediction was Jon Snow kills someone with a sword, and when I made this prediction, we were joking about like, what if it's a dagger? Like, what if it's like a small sword? And we are like, blah. So he stabs Daenerys with like a blade that like the length of which is unconfirmed
It's the
because it's in her when we see it.
yeah. So it's not sword length because it wasn't sticking really far out of her while she was laying on the
Or maybe
ground.
he just got it real in deep though.
My favorite part about that was it
right
happened.
through the ground.
It happened, and you said, "I said that John killed someone with a sword," and Jimmy's wife went, "I think that's a dagger."
And she wasn't even there to know that we
She-
debated
you know.
sword length.
So is that like a half a point? Or what?
I'll give you a half a
All
point.
right, let's go to the half.
Yeah.
And then I said like it ends with like an unsatisfying cliffhanger or twist, which it didn't. It was the opposite. It was like everything is
can't
settled.
believe
Here
that.
we go.
I thought
Calm
for
down.
sure we'd see like a what are they? Walker? A White Walker's like hand
some sort of cold
pop
zombie.
out of the snow.
Mhm.
Nothing.
Zombie Daenerys pops out of the snow.
Ugh,
For a second, they were like
we didn't
they were like
see her body.
getting Sansa ready to like crown her. And for a second I was like, oh, did they get Daenerys' body back? And are they like prepping her for like a pyre, like a funeral pyre or something?
I thought that's what it was too.
Yeah.
Because they were putting sleeves on a woman.
And you don't put sleeves on women unless you're burning them.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Something
That is
Joe
a
says to me weekly.
That's a scientific fact.
Unless you're Frasier and they're leaving your apartment, or you're burning them.
I'll go. I said Arya kills Daenerys while wearing Jon Snow's face.
Okay, so close.
It could have been Arya under there. Who knows?
Nah.
Unconfirmed.
Nah.
Half a point.
Nah. John was crying and all sad and was like, "Oh, this is my aunt that I boned,"
Here's an interesting one.
and then stabbed.
We might have to talk about this one for a
Okay.
second. The 7 kingdoms are disbanded, and no one takes the Iron Throne. The 7 kingdoms don't exist anymore, and the Iron
Because
Throne
they're
also
6.
doesn't exist anymore.
So do you want a sixth of a point?
I would call that a full point. The 7 Kingdoms does not exist, and there's no Iron Throne.
Okay, but there is a person in charge of the
I didn't
kingdom,
say there
But
wasn't
he's
going to be a
sixth now.
king.
He's
and now there's
he's the sixth
there's
god
not
now.
okay, so it's not a 7th, but it's fractional. It's
He's-
not.
He's the king of the 6 kingdoms on a wheelchair throne.
Yeah, like they got to come up with a new flag and everything. Like it's a different place now.
Oh yeah, will it be a direwolf?
They probably rename it too. It's not Westeros, right? It's
Nah, it's still Westeros. It's just
Well, once Arya
King's Landing
once Arya
isn't much of
discovers
King's
more
Landing.
things, that will now become east
East.
of something else. So,
yeah, it'll just be like
all right,
Middle East.
All right, Joe. I'll take my point.
Full point.
No
Damn it.
no dragons
Joe.
survive. It's
Still
not
a
true.
That dragon's alive.
That dragon's
His
alive.
name's
so.
Dragoon.
Legend of Dragoon.
Legend of Dragoon. That's
that's
an
something.
underrated game.
Here's a solid point. Sansa becomes Queen of the North.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That happened.
Queen of the North.
They said it
that part
a
happened.
lot. Also, your wife
Said it
Michelle
several
said
times.
I get 1 point per every time they said
Okay, don't. She should not encourage you.
it. But you did. I'll only take 1 for it.
See her later this summer as Dark Phoenix.
So
She hasn't been on the show for a while, so
I did also say that they hint towards a new enemy from the north, but that didn't happen. So
No.
doesn't matter. So, but I'm taking my 2. I feel pretty good about that.
what was the last one you had?
That they hinted towards like a new enemy in the north, like another
like a
White
new
Walker or
net-
something like that.
Yeah, okay.
But-
interesting.
I thought when Jon Snow was walking
There
out
was
of the
none of that.
The White Runners.
They'll probably in all the spin-offs they do, I'm sure that'll come up. We'll probably get all these points in all the spin-offs.
I don't get these points yet.
Have you seen? So they have there's like tons of prediction. What am I saying? Lots of signed petitions, not predictions. That's what we're doing. To totally redo season 8 because people are so pissed.
Yeah, and I know, and they need to chill the fuck out, watch this season, and
They
meditate.
do, but they're gonna get that money, and if they could, they could just like. Have you seen the Clue? Have you seen Clue? Where they just have a bunch of different endings.
Like Tim,
Like if they just kept remaking season 8 with different endings, people would eat that shit
I'm
up.
telling you, I want them to Roseanne it and like have a season 9 as if season 8 never happened.
Okay. Number 1, no sex/boobs is what I wrote.
True.
And that was true.
I was disappointed the minute we got that the card like
Oh, yeah.
violence or whatever. It didn't say
yeah,
nudity.
I forgot about that we'd know immediately whether or not that would happen.
I'll be honest, I'm just always sad. Like every HBO show that I've ever watched, when it doesn't say nudity, I'm always a little sad.
Here's out.
I don't care if it's a boob or a
It's
dude
not even
hanging
trying
dong.
to get me to watch it.
I just want to see someone's genitals.
Oh, it's
It's the central premise behind this show's success. So like trust us, there's gonna be a boob.
weird murder.
There's gonna
and
be
boobs,
dragons,
and
but there's gonna
often
be
both.
boobs. Hang on.
When I think of HBO
Dragon
shows,
boobs.
I just think of, oh, this show's got a good
Shrooms.
story. Also, there's probably a boob.
Probably gonna be boobs.
Yeah, I mean that's how you get people to watch. The first episode is always going to have gratuitous boobs,
A lot of boobs.
And then like as the season goes on, it has less and less boobs. And then like season 2, like the ratings have dropped from season 1, so like tons of boobs. Okay, number 2, Tyrion Lannister kills someone.
No.
Did not kill a single person. 3, Starks win but don't want the throne. Huh?
I mean,
Technically, that's very true.
I feel like I want to give that to him
Okay.
because we literally, Bobby, 10 minutes ago said the Starks won.
But yeah, and like Jon doesn't want the
And
throne.
Jon
right?
doesn't
Like,
want
he
it.
could have
Jon
had
doesn't
claim
want
to
the throne.
throne.
He could have had it. Bran has it.
Bran has
he
it.
still doesn't
and
want
he doesn't
it.
want it.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you.
Boom. I don't think that's.
Sansa wants it though.
Yeah. Oh, totally. She wanted that North.
Yes.
She was gonna be Queen of the North.
And she got Queen of North, and she won. So
And you got that point.
that counts as Starks won.
Okay, and then 4, I said someone we thought was dead is alive.
That didn't happen.
No.
That didn't
Everyone
happen.
that's dead was dead.
No Jon Snows.
Solid 2, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Good. All right. I think we did great, guys.
Everybody wins.
We win.
Except for Daenerys.
We win for this. Listeners, you win for listening to this podcast and for having watched the finale of Game of Thrones. Come at me if you think it was bad. And if you think it's bad and you're wrong, you can tweet at us at FNL Podcast or hit us up on Gmail at FNL Podcast.
If you think we're wrong, listen to all of our other episodes.
Yeah. If you think we're wrong, there's
If you
88.
think we're wrong now. Oh boy. Oh buckets.
Ooh. But we thank you for listening to this extremely long episode. I hope you had fun with Game of Thrones, and I hope you had fun with us while watching Game of Thrones. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week on another First and Last. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, copyright strike. I gotta stop.
Game of Thrones.
Nope. Bye.
House of Cards. Wait, that's just the name of
House of
the
Thrones.
show.
That's just.
House of
Are we doing that
Thrones.
next week?
Game of Cards.
Bye, everybody.